Hi, my name's Paul Grogan and welcome to episode 50 of the Gaming Rules podcast. Yes, that's episode 50. Didn't think I was going to make it past episode 10, but here we are on episode 50. I've been joined by my good friend Tom Heath. Say hello, Tom.
Hello.
You're on the 50th episode.
I know, I'm very pleased.
We timed it perfectly, and we're going to be talking about Gen Con 50, which is a coincidence. It's not that 2 years ago I planned this and said, right, I'm going to start doing a podcast, then I'm going to have a 6-month break for personal reasons, and then I'm going to start it up again just so I'm doing the 50th episode at the time of Gen Con 50. That was not part of the plan.
That is what someone who had planned it would say, though.
That is true. So, this podcast is going to be fairly free-form. The first thing is, it's been a month since my last podcast. Now, the last podcast was recorded in a meeting room at Manacon. So, for those people who listened to the last podcast, you'll hopefully notice that this one's got better audio quality because that one was recorded in a meeting room and there was echo everywhere and people said the content was good, but I wasn't happy with the audio quality. Now, in that podcast, I talked to Matt Evans and we discussed the games that we've been playing, and we also talked about blind playtesting of rulebooks. So if you are listening to this episode and didn't listen to the last one, but want to know my thoughts on how you blind test rulebooks to make sure that they're good, then go back and listen to episode 49. But in this one, we're going to be talking about, things that I've been doing since Manacon. So, as usual, I've been working on a number of games. One thing I definitely did have to get done before I went to Gen Con was the how to play video for Codenames Duet. Now, that got done, and it went online a few days before I left. So, yeah, if you want to know how to play Codenames Duet, then check that out. I'll put the link in the show notes, but it's on my YouTube channel. And a lot of people have said to me that they didn't watch the video initially because it's just Codenames. And then they watched the video and then they went, okay, it's not just Codenames. I was surprised because this video is actually not intended to teach you how to play Codenames Duet from scratch. It's intended for those people who already know Codenames. So I went into it thinking this is going to be a 4 or 5 minute video, and it's not. It's about 8 minutes, I think. So yeah, it's not just Codenames. There's enough differences that it took me 8 minutes to cover them, which is interesting. Now, you've had a chance to play Codenames Duet a few times, haven't you, Tom?
We've played it about 10 times in the last week. Yeah, I played it last night with a group of 6, and I was surprised. I was surprised how much explanation there was to try and say the differences. Because in my head it was, there's only a couple of things.
Yeah,
but
and
like
then
you
you
say,
get going.
There is quite a bit.
Yeah,
but I love it.
So how does it play with 6?
It at first it felt a bit strange. It felt a bit stunted. Everyone was being very quiet and cautious about their guesses and the clues that they were giving. But by the end, it was great. Because we had to try and keep our clue discussion secret, we were kind of using phones and little scraps of paper to
that's what we did.
keep it hidden. But it was great collaborating on the clues. That's something that is impossible in normal code names. But it's great that somebody comes up with a clue and then you can refine it because you've seen a word they haven't. It's great.
It does make the game slower, but for me it makes it more of a cooperative experience because I'd be working with you together on giving clues to the other two, and we'd be whispering and we'd be talking about things, and that feels to me, so 4 is my optimum number for Codenames Duet. I mean, it is a great 2-player game, but I'm terrible at giving clues. So working with somebody is like, I've got an amazing clue, and they go, no, you can't say that because, you've given the clue ladder, and rungs is a word on the table which is an assassin. I'm like, I didn't spot that. So
the end of most of our Codenames games are we didn't notice the assassin.
Yes.
And gave a blatant clue to it.
How far have you got on the campaign map? Have you been using it?
We've got we've only done it with our just the 2-player one. I think we're 3 cities in now.
Okay.
We've gone the way where I don't think the total number of rounds is being reduced, but the number of incorrect guesses we're allowed is being reduced quite rapidly.
Yeah, I mean,
the last game of it was probably the luckiest game of Codenames we've ever had, where every clue seemed to be a 2 or a 3, and we got it straight away. Nice. It will never be that good again.
Cool. So yeah, Codenames Duet video is now online if you want to know how to play that. I've been doing some work for What's Your Game on Loot Island, which is their new game that's coming out at Spiel Essen this year. Loot Island, compared to previous What's Your Game titles, is a much lighter game, but they have also been working on their big new game, which is going to be Brazil, but that's not going to be out at Essen. That's actually going to be launched on Kickstarter. So I was doing the rulebook for Loot Island. I've been doing more development work and some playtesting for Legends Untold. That's coming to the point now where the rules are pretty much stabilized, I think, and we're just tweaking a few things. But yeah, that's been a big challenge because that's a fairly meaty game, and getting all of that down into, you know, comprehensive rules but not overloading people, that's going to be interesting. And a little bit of work on Alexandria, which is Ludicreation's latest Kickstarter game, which is already funded on Kickstarter, but I did some final work on the rulebook for that. And then I went off to Gen Con. And that was the last thing I remember, is leaving for Gen Con. And now I'm back, and I'm ill. So yeah, I've been ill since I got back from Gen Con. The cold, you may hear that I've got a slight cold. That's starting to go. But I am suffering quite a bit from exhaustion, which is really, really starting to bother me. And for the last 2 days, I've been saying, why am I not better yet? I basically do, 30 minutes of housework, and then I have to go to sleep for 3 or 4 hours, and I'm getting 10 hours sleep a night. And Vicky keeps saying, you're actually exhausted. You're not just tired. You're suffering from exhaustion because of the last 10 days. And I'm like, yeah. So here we are. I got back from Gen Con 6 days ago. We went to a country fair this afternoon, and I was out about 15 minutes, and then my legs were just heavy, and I couldn't walk anymore. So anyway, I'm getting there. But yeah, the last week has been a lot of recovery. So, Gen Con, you did a most anticipated list before Gen Con.
I did.
Based on what? Where did you get that information from?
I went on I was using the preview tool that they just put on Board Game Geek.
Yeah.
I was trying that out. I think it was the first time, wasn't it, for Gen Con?
Yeah.
Their version of the tool.
Yeah.
So you can put your preferences in that and kind of generate lists and how important they were. Mm-hmm. But some of them, I was surprised how excited I was for how little I knew about them.
Right.
Beforehand.
Now that Gen Con's been and gone, and there's probably been lots of coverage over some of those games that you had on your list, pick a couple just to talk about.
Well, Ex Libris.
Yes.
I was very excited about, but there were no rules or anything for it.
Right.
And I kind of vaguely knew. I saw Chris Bryan's video, and he talked about it being based in a library and things like that. Mm-hmm. But that looks even better now, where I knew there was something to do with we were trying to alphabetize books and being quite boring. I really like that.
Right.
But we were drawing cards, and they've got different books on them, and you need to arrange. You're building kind of a tableau outwards from the first card that you place.
Yeah.
But you still want to kind of keep your books in order to score points, and you want them to be from different categories of books, and then there's a ton of worker placement spaces that change every round. It seems even better than I thought it would. Okay, it would have been a lot higher if I'd have known all of those things before I made the list.
Right, so you were interested in it before from little bits of information. Now, Ex Libris, I didn't get a chance to play it at Gen Con. I'm going to be saying that a lot over the next 20 minutes. I didn't get a chance to play it. But it was one of the very, very hot games that I heard lots and lots of people talking about it. And if I remember rightly, they only had like 50 copies a day available.
Wow.
I might be wrong on this, because it's all a bit hazy. But I think there was a big rush every morning to try and get it, and they only had limited copies available. It was definitely one of the buzz games. But now that it's come out, and lots of people have been talking about it, you're now even more excited. So it was right to have that one on your list.
Yeah, I can't wait for it to, whenever it gets over to England. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Now, was there anything on your list which, now that you've found more information, would not be on your list?
Well, I'm not sure if it wouldn't be on the list, but I think the day after I recorded the list or uploaded it or something, I listened to the Last Place podcast with Efka and John Gets Games, and Efka wasn't negative about it, but seemed kind of, I don't know, listless about it.
Okay, what was that?
And Deadline.
Right.
It's a investigation game where there's kind of story elements to it, and we're noir detectives that are trying to solve the case. But the central mechanism is this kind of symbol matching card game, and I'm excited based on the idea of the noir detective stuff rather than the game that was behind it.
Right.
But
okay.
That was from the podcast. Anyway, you can listen to that podcast to find out more information. But yeah, Efko was very disappointed with the symbol matching part of it, I remember.
Right. And is that because he'd played it at Gen Con?
I think he got a copy of it because it was before. That was an episode before Gen Con.
Oh, okay, right.
But yeah, so it wouldn't necessarily not be on the list, but it was kind of Yeah, it was a bit of a it took the wind out of my sails a little bit on that one.
Okay,
but I'm still going to give it a try.
You're still going to give it a try when it comes out.
Yeah, I still want to be a noir detective.
Okay. Other things on your most anticipated lists?
Well, Spirit Island was very high up on it.
Mm-hmm. I got a copy.
I've now played Spirit Island a few times. Have you played it yet?
Nope. I've not even opened the box.
Well, yeah, you have been. You've been busy, stroke tired.
Yeah, I referred back to my previous comment.
Yeah. But yeah, we've played it. We haven't ventured into the big difficulties of it yet. We kind of started at the very basic level, and we had a bit of a struggle winning. It's a very you're playing the island itself. There's this island that's getting colonised by settlers, and we don't like that because they're blemishing the land, and we need to get them off the island as quick as possible.
Interesting.
And so it seems like a standard co-op game, but there's so much more involved. There's a lot more weighty decisions than there are in a lot of games, and I tend to love co-ops. I really love Pandemic and things like that. But in this, we play as a spirit. All of the spirits are unique and have different ways of growing every round, as well as special powers and all those things, and unique cards to all of the spirits.
So each player plays a different spirit?
Yeah, everyone's a different spirit. Okay. And it's such, like, planning the start of the turn where you decide your growth, which is like, do you get a new card? Do you get some new energy? Do you take all of your old cards back? And then you decide which cards you're playing based on how many you're allowed to play. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really cooperative because you really have to be involved in each other's turns of, well, if you can play this card, but then if you move this there, then I can activate my superpower and we can get all of the settlers out of this area that's just about to be ravaged, and they're going to put tons of blight on the island, which is one of the ways you lose if they manage to get loads of blight out.
Right. Okay.
It's really, really, as I said, it's really collaborative how you have to work through these things. If you're just going off on your own, then nothing will really get done. Yeah, it's a co-op game, so that's probably be expected.
Yeah,
but
I had a chat with Greater Than Games, and they gave me one of the copies of the game that had been demoed all weekend. So I went to see them at closing time on the Sunday. I'd already had a meeting with them about other stuff, so I brought a copy back. And yeah, I haven't got around to opening it yet, but as I said on my Gen Con unboxing video, my Gen Con haul video, where I went through all of the games that I brought back with me, lots of people have told me that I'm going to like this one. So out of all the games I've brought back, it's probably number one on the list to open up and have a look at, because as I say, I haven't even opened it up and had a look at it yet. But once I've recovered from being ill, hopefully regular gaming will start again, and then I can get back onto it. Yeah,
it seems like we haven't really scratched the surface as well. There's a lot in there, and our two games haven't really discovered anything. We just played with the what they're called, adversaries, where you can play as if the invaders are a certain country rather than just being generic ones. And we played against England, and England are really good at building, so it was a lot harder to stop them building in that game. But even that was just level one of them. And there's something like 9 levels of each of the invaders as well. So
yeah, so that would be my first question. Cooperative game, you can customize the difficulty level then.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can change just in the basic game. There's scenarios that you can add on as well that'll add special rules. I haven't really looked into them much, but we went after we won the first game. The next time we went back to it, we went straight to adding an adversary in. And we weren't brave enough to step up the levels, but yeah, England specifically adds another spot on the board where another card can go that make the invaders do things, so they get to build twice a round instead of just once, and so they'll spiral out of control if you let them.
Okay, those pesky English. So what does the game do to deal with the quarterbacking problem of other people telling other players what to do?
I think just the fact that it is a more involved game, the decisions that you're making are, your character is so unique, and so I, as my spirit, don't really, unless I'm really, really experienced with the game, I don't know what your spirit does exactly. Or I don't know the cards that you've picked up, and I've got so many of my own to deal with, and what am I going to do this turn? It's so kind of involved thinking for yourself that to be able to do it for other people seems like you'd have to be a really, really good quarterback, I think, to be able to do it. Because I tried to play it solo by just playing 2 characters, and it's for just a beginner anyway, it was too much. And so I tried the rules in the box of just play it with one spirit instead, but it says that the game could be a little bit wonky because the whole idea is that each spirit's got strengths and weaknesses, and so you can usually pick some spirits that complement each other in a multiplayer game. Okay. Whereas in solo, your weaknesses are just your weaknesses. So
and you're screwed if that happens.
If your weakness happens to like really get pronounced in the game, then there's nothing much you can do about it.
Okay, excellent. Right, well, I'll check that out. So other games that maybe were not on your anticipated list that you now think should have been after the coverage of Gen Con?
Ooh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I didn't tell you to prepare for this question, did I?
No, that was a surprise.
And this is assuming that you've watched some of the games that people have brought back from Gen Con.
Yeah, I haven't really seen that many.
Okay.
The only stuff I've watched is kind of stuff that was already on there.
Right.
And then maybe stuff that's going to be... I haven't even delved into the Essen preview yet.
Yeah, I had an exhibitor's pass, so I was able to get into the hall an hour before it opened.
Yeah.
However, that was 9 o'clock. Our demo room was open at 9 o'clock. So, you know, I was in our room from 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to sneak into the exhibitor's room the hour early to get the things. But a lot of the other people who were working with us were, you know, managed to get out and see other things. So somebody brought back Bunny Kingdom, which they said was only 50 copies a day.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that, but they were very keen to get that. Monument, Unearthed. I'm getting mixed up.
Oh, right, yeah.
I'm getting mixed up between the computer game that it's obviously based on. I mean, I don't know much about Unearthed. I think I'd heard of the game before I went to Gen Con, but because I was so busy, I didn't have time to look at it. But then on the first night, or the second night, people were talking about it and saying, oh yeah, it looks very, very similar graphically to Monument Valley, the PC game or iPad game, whatever, which I've got on my iPad. It's really nice. So on one of the days, I actually went past the Unearthed booth and looked at it and went, oh yeah, I can see how this looks very, very similar to the graphic design and style of Monument Valley. Yeah. Whether the game is anything like it or not, I've absolutely no idea. So
I have played Unearthed. That was one that I left off the top 10 because I'd already got a copy and done a video for it. Right. So I couldn't judge how anticipated it might have been had I not done that. But it's a dice placement game. So you'll roll dice on your turn. You've got a load of different shaped dice, and you'll pick one. You'll pick a monument. You'll roll it. If you roll high, you might get the monument. If you roll low, you'll get stones instead. So it's kind of it's got the standard thing of we'll roll a load of dice. Once a monument gets to a certain amount, we'll judge who wins it, and then they take the card, and you're set collecting different colours. But I think a good thing about it is to mitigate the kind of randomness of who wins the relics based on numbers that you rolled. If you roll low numbers, you've got less chance of winning those relics, but you get these little tiles that you make. They're all hexagons, and you make kind of a circle of hexagons that will leave a hexagon in the middle. And once you've done that, depending on the colours you've used, you can take one of these wonders that will either give you powers to use throughout the game that might help you mitigate the dice, or they'll give you big points. And in all the games I've played of it, the scores have been relatively similar. There's been no runaway leaders because the people that were kind of disheartened that they didn't win all of these relics did end up with a load of these wonders and tiles and things. So it kind of balanced out the high and low rolls.
Okay, so Unearthed was available in the UK before Gen Con.
I think it's
was it just before?
It's quite newly available, yeah.
Okay, and have you played the Monument Valley?
I haven't.
PC
no, I saw. Someone told me about it when they're saying, "Oh, it looks just like this." Yeah, but I don't know what the game is about, so I couldn't say if it's similar to that.
The PC game, as I say, I've got it on the iPad, so I've played it on the iPad. I'm assuming it's available for PC. I don't know. It's basically it's like a 3D sort of puzzle platformer using the Escher's, unbelievable 3D sculptures kind of thing. And that's basically it. It's very pretty. It's very nicely put together. But you'll look at a screen and you'll move a guy up a set of stairs, and then you'll turn something, and it'll turn that particular section of the map, 90 degrees. Yeah. But then it will, screw with your mind, because what looked like a really high corridor is suddenly connected to a low corridor, and then you'll be able to rotate the whole thing around. And it's just a little puzzle platformer type thing.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know whether that is in any way, shape or form connected at all to the board game, but certainly graphically they do look very similar. So... right, so other stuff that happened at Gen Con for me. Yeah, I mean, I was working for CGE, so that was, from getting up at about 7:30 in the morning, it was sitting there with the rota for the day, making sure all the events were planned and everything else. Room was open at 9. Now, Thursday, we were swamped. So Thursday was the first official day at Gen Con. I was there on the Wednesday, well, I was actually there on the Tuesday. So I was there on the Wednesday, and my job on the Wednesday was to help get the room ready, because we had 28 tables, I think, and most of them were big tables. I mean, we're talking 8-foot long tables, not just your normal little circular tables, and prepare all of the demo team. So most of the demo team were arriving on the Wednesday. We had 31 demo staff this year, I think, 31 or 32. I basically wanted to make sure that there was at least 18 to 20 people in the room at all times, which would hopefully be enough to cover all of the tables that we had.
Yeah.
On the Thursday, it proved that it wasn't enough people, because we ended up with a counter that was bigger than I'd planned, so I needed more people to man the counter. And then we sneaked an extra couple of tables in, and yeah, we were absolutely swamped. So the Thursday, I was like, oh, okay, right. I already had more people than last year, but I was already thinking, right, for next year, I need another 3 people. Because it was just every table was occupied, and there were people milling in the aisles, and then there were people sat there looking at a rule book, and I was like, no, I don't want people sat there looking at a rule book. But I just didn't have enough people for all of the tables. So got Thursday out of the way. Friday was a little quieter. So I thought, oh, okay, maybe, a lot of the events have started today, which means more people are now going to the event, or there's more other stuff going on the Friday, which is why numbers dropped.
Yeah.
Friday night was probably the worst night sleep I had. So bearing in mind, this is now 7 days since I've had a good night's sleep. By this point, 2 o'clock in the morning on the Saturday morning, I was feeling really, really ill, and I was dreading Saturday, and I thought, I'm not going to be able to survive this. And Saturday was quieter than Friday, and nobody knows why.
Oh, is it usually busy though in other
Saturday,
years?
Yeah, Saturday should be the massively busy day. So
yeah, because it is at I've only been to Essen and the UK Expo, but Saturday is the crazy day. Yeah,
so for us it wasn't. Saturday was absolutely fine. The tables were busy, but we weren't running around from one table to the next. So Saturday was the quieter day, and I spoke to a few exhibitors as well, who also said that the Saturday wasn't as busy as they were expecting, which is unusual. Now, one of the things which was special about Gen Con this year is that it was sold out. I think it's the first year that Gen Con has been sold out. Everybody was saying that it was sold out, so everybody expected attendance figures to go up, and the numbers that I was hearing being talked about on the Tuesday and Wednesday before Gen Con actually started was 75,000 people compared to the 60,000 people the year before. So that's what everybody was expecting. It turns out that they've now released the figures, and the attendance figures were 60,000, which was the same as last year. So them saying it was sold out, everybody assumed that meant more people were going. But I think what they'd done is they'd perhaps even restricted the numbers a bit more from last year.
Yeah.
Which seems really, really unusual. So yeah, it didn't really grow from last year. It was 60,000 people. So some of the things that I got to do, so last year at Gen Con for me was horrendous. And that was mostly my own doing. It's because I was working from like 7:30 in the morning till about 11:30 at night. I stayed the responsible person for the whole room, for the whole duration, and we didn't have anywhere near enough people, to man all of the tables.
Yeah.
This year, I said, right, I'm not working beyond sort of between 6 and 7. I'm going to stop working. And then I'm going to hand the keys of the room over to a colleague of mine, and they're going to have responsibility for the room afterwards. So I decided to do that. But that didn't mean the evenings for me were just, right, go back to the hotel room, put my feet up and chill. I ended up doing things which were, they were fun. They were more of a sociable thing. But it did mean that I didn't, sit down, put my feet up, go for the swim or anything like that. But I had a good meeting with Vladia one night. We talked about a number of things that we've been working on together. I spent a lot of time with Isaac Childress talking about, well, Gloomhaven and other games. And then one night I organised a meeting between me, Isaac and Vladia. I can't say too much about that, but things might be happening there in the future. And I don't want people to get really excited and think this is definitely going to happen. It really is a might. You know, everybody's busy. There's a lot of things going on. But if there's ever a chance of those two people working together on something in the future, I wanted to try and help make that happen. So organise that, and that was good as well. So yeah, so I didn't get to play many games myself. The only game I played, I think I played 3 games the whole of Gen Con. One of them was a 2-player game of Codenames Duet, because Brandon from Brolin Brothers came round and said, right, come on, Paul, show me one of your new games. So I showed him Codenames Duet, and we played it, and we failed. I also played a game of That's a Question, because I took it to a Geek Dad party one night, and they were looking for a sort of lightish 15, 20-minute social party game, and I was like, oh, I've got this one with squirrels in it. So I taught them how to play that and also played it myself. And then I also took part in a game of Telestrations that was being run over the whole of Gen Con. So basically a number of, you know, one person would do something, and then then it would go off to another person and do that. So I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well, because that has all been posted up there, and it was nice to be a part of that and to see what it was at the start, what it was when I got to it, and what it was at the end.
Yeah, that sounds really. It's like one great big round of Telestrations.
Yeah, that basically really cool. with Z-list celebrities like me, sort of filling their bit in, giving it back, and then it would go on to another person after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, didn't get to play any real games at Gen Con, which I'm slightly envious about, but would I have preferred to, go back to the hotel and sit down and play a game of something in the evening, or have dinner with Vladia and Isaac and discuss future games that we might be working on together? I'm like, yeah, that's not a question. So I was happy to give that up. But yeah, I have brought a few back with me. So for those people who haven't watched my games that I brought back from Gen Con, go and watch it. But some of the things that I did want to mention is Word Slam, which I'd actually played at Origins. So that was I am definitely going to be bringing this game back with me no matter what, because I really, really enjoyed it at Origins, and it's a game which I'm definitely going to be able to get played with a number of groups. It's just another one of those start of the night or end of the night, and can take vast number of people, and people can actually drop in the middle of the game, which, the more games we've got like that, the better. Have you seen this one yet?
I have. I got offered a review copy a long time ago, and we weren't really playing. We were generally playing 2 players at the time, but now we're getting a lot more sessions where we're playing a lot more party games, and I feel like picking it up now.
Yeah, it's not going to work as a 2-player. This one needs...
Yeah, it needs a group, but we've been playing... I
don't know, 6, 8, 10, something like that.
Yeah, but we've been playing... We've probably... Well, we'll never wear Time's Up out, but I just love Time's Up so much. Yeah. And I'm into... I'll find more games like that. And Word Slam seems that kind of thing, doesn't it? Where you're playing... You can't say the word, can you? But you can play cards to give clues. Is the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, I describe it, rightly or wrongly, as concept with words. So you will draw a card off a stack, and then you'll roll a dice to see which of the things that you're trying to describe. Yeah. The difference between this and concept is you divide it into 2 teams. So if I was on one team and you were on the other team, I'd draw a card, I'd roll, and you'd roll the dice or whatever, or you just pick a number. And you'd say 4, and I'd look up number 4, and it'd say Winston Churchill, for example, right? I'd then give you the card to you, you'd read it, it would say Winston Churchill, obviously, for you as well. So we've now both got to describe Winston Churchill. And we do that, we have a card tray, and we have all of our word cards, and we basically put these word cards onto our card tray, but the order in which you put them is obviously important. So you're trying to describe the person that you've got by putting these cards down. So I would probably put again, you're limited by the words that you've got. Same as in concept, you're limited to the pictures that you've got on the board. In this one, you're limited to the words that you've got. So if there was a word of man and war and English and things like this, or leader, I'd be trying to scrabble for all of those words and put them down. Now, what's also interesting about the game is that as my team are shouting out things from my side, people on your team will be listening to that. So you will be hearing the things that the other team are shouting out, and you will be using that to your advantage. I can't remember whether you're allowed to do that or not. I think you are, or you're not. I'm not sure. So yes, I've not opened the box. I played it on the last night at Origins with the crowd from BGG, which was a lot of fun. So yeah, that was on my list of games to bring back with me. I'm trying to think what else I brought back with me. There was this crazy game that somebody asked me to pick up while I was there that just was really weird. Something about an artist.
Bob Ross, Art of Chill.
So how did you find out about this game?
I can't. I think it was Eric Martin tweeting about it.
Right,
as he generally tweets the things that are getting added to the database.
He's responsible for a lot of things, so we'll blame him for this one as well.
Yeah, it's I'd never heard of the company that made it or anything. It just came out of the blue. And
had you heard of Bob Ross?
Yes.
Oh,
but
see, I hadn't.
Only about 2 years ago, though, because he's... I can't remember when he's from. Is the 80s in America? It was a huge show where he basically teaches you how to paint, a specific style of painting that's very, very easy to pick up. And
it was a show. It was a TV show.
Yeah, The Joy of Painting it's called.
Right,
and he had a show that ran for about 20 years, something like that. Tons and tons of episodes. They're all on YouTube, by the way, everybody. And you can go and check it out. But yeah, he teaches you these techniques to make very good looking things. Compared to how easy it is to do them, they look very nice. You wouldn't have thought that he used those techniques for them. And he's got a very, very calm, kind of almost whispery voice. And he's got his own colloquialisms and things. It's brilliant. It was on...
Is the being calm and having a wispy voice anything to do with smoking drugs?
I don't think so.
No?
I would be surprised.
Okay.
But yeah, that was... it was on Twitch for some reason. I've got no idea why. I think maybe they were launching an art thing of Twitch, the video gaming streaming site. They were launching a kind of art section to that where people would paint and stream that. And so they got Bob Ross's show on there a couple of years ago, and that was where we first saw it. We'd never heard of him before that, and we kind of watched a couple as a joke, and the chat had kind of catchphrases to say when he did certain things. He would draw something and then everyone would type ruined, and then you'd see what he was going for and everyone would type saved, silly things like that. But what started off as watching it as a joke quickly turned into, this is amazing. And we love Bob Ross. And so it doesn't matter what the game is. I've heard people say that it's a bit light and a bit random. Yeah. But I don't care. I want a game that's full of Bob Ross quotes. I want a game that's got Bob Ross on the cover on my shelves.
So you wanted me to pick this game up because of Bob Ross rather than you'd heard it was a good game?
We will enjoy it no matter what.
Okay.
We will enjoy it whether we like it or not.
I don't know if I tweeted out the poster, but so when I went to this Geek Dag thing on the Friday night, I think it was, where I was teaching That's a Question, they had the Bob Ross game and they were doing demos of it, and they had wigs. They had Bob Ross wigs for everybody who was playing. So I took a photo of 4 people playing Bob Ross and the Art of Chill at the Geek Dad thing where I was running the That's a Question game. But I have it with me. I haven't sent it off to you yet, but I will get that done.
It's going to be in Target in America. So and I think it's been Walmart that have had all the exclusive games. If I'm getting that right, or maybe it's Target that have had them all, and this is just another. But anyway, it's going to be in a supermarket, so that's going to surely help the sales. And everyone that remembers Bob Ross, whether they've played a modern board game or not, surely.
That's it.
The people that saw his show at the time, people that know it now, people that have kind of been forced to watch Bob Ross by people like me. Yeah.
I mean, it's good, as you say, any game that's based on a popular TV show is going to sell really, really well, even if the game itself is awful. Yeah. But I think, I saw some people playing this game. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be as awful as some of the games based on TV shows. It's probably a hybrid somewhere between that and a modern board game.
It seems like a nice, light set collection game.
Right, okay. So yes, I would. So it could be that I've got the only copy in the UK at the moment.
Yeah, very possibly. Although,
Yeah, because
if you did buy it, email in and tell us how good it was.
Yes, if you're listening to this podcast and you did pick up Bob Ross and the Art of Chill at Gen Con and you've brought it back with you, then yeah, let Tom know how good it is.
Yeah, help us spread the word across the UK about Bob Ross.
Well, if these videos are all on YouTube, I might just have to go and have a look, just to confirm what you're telling me is not actually...
I think every single episode is.
Okay. Right. So anyway, that's where we are. That's what I've been up to since Gen Con. That's Gen Con. That's some of the games at Gen Con. There was a lot of games released at Gen Con. I remember when I went to Gen Con for the first time a couple of years ago, I came back with the impression that only a few games were released at Gen Con. I think that might have been wrong. Maybe I just didn't see them, but there was certainly a lot of games being released at Gen Con this year. Nowhere near as many as will be released at Spiel. But certainly for the American market, Gen Con is definitely one of those key dates to aim for.
And a lot of kind of get it first at Gen Con as well. Like that, I wonder if that drove some of the people to go on earlier days that this game is getting released at Gen Con and we're only going to have X copies. So
it could have been, but as I
really
say,
quickly.
that Bunny Kingdom that I heard about, or maybe even Ex Libris, were a certain number of copies per day.
Ah, yeah.
You just had to be in early and get in the line early. So
I thought I'd solved it.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. We'll wrap things up there. Just for those people who haven't heard any of my other podcasts, Tom runs his own YouTube channel, so give that a plug.
It is called Slickerdrips. I do playthroughs, like the words slicker and drips, but one word.
And what have you got coming up next in the next couple of weeks?
This week is going to be Deckscape, the pocket escape room game.
How are you going to do that without any spoilers?
Well, it's just me talking about it, really.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I'll show you the first puzzle. That's just a really easy one anyway, and then kind of talk. It's very, very frustrating doing spoiler-free videos for things like escape room games because I want to tell you what's so good about it, but I just can't. Yeah. And then what else is coming up? The first Martians at some point will be coming up when that gets edited, and Role Player, because that won my vote. I have some votes every month for videos, and the people chose Role Player, which is a really, really nice dice game about rolling a character in something like D&D.
I really, really want to play this game. I just, time and everything else, I don't have a copy of the game, but I really want to play it because it does look really, really good fun.
It is. So, spoilers. I don't want to let everyone off the hook and not need to watch my videos, but it is very good. Yeah.
So anyway, we haven't talked about the thing we were going to talk about. So I said we were going to wrap things up. We're now not, because we haven't mentioned Seventh Continent. So this week since getting back from Gen Con has not all been me being ill in bed, not being able to do anything. I have played Seventh Continent for approximately 5 hours, I think. Now, I've been looking forward to Seventh Continent forever. And, when we backed the Kickstarter back in 1972, I think it was. No, it's been a while. It's been 18 months. Yeah, I think since I backed the game, or something like that.
It was about October 2 years ago, because their estimate was October last year for delivery.
Yeah. So it's over a year. It's about a year delay, but the communication was pretty good, and they said they were going to improve it, and they found a couple of errors that they were going to fix, and that's great. Now, I've been really, really hoping that Vicky, my non-game playing partner, was going to like this game, but the amount of times over the last 10 years that I've said, "Oh, you're going to like this game," this is the one where I have more confidence in saying those words than anything else. Yeah. Based on the fact that she likes time stories, she likes the escape room style games, she loves the PC puzzle games like Myst and things like that I love as well, the choose your own adventure books. And I went, well, this is the perfect game. This is. She loves Gloomhaven, she loves Sherlock Holmes Consulted Detective, she loves time stories. But Seventh Continent surely is going to be more enjoyable for her than all of the other ones combined. So I've been going on about this game to her for the last year, always telling her about it. And it arrived, well, I got, it was a friend of mine, Jonathan, he ordered 2 copies. So although my copy arrived in the UK while I was at Gen Con, it was actually at Jonathan's house. He then came round to me, delivered it to me. I persuaded Vicky to play it just for an hour on the Friday night. That's what I said. I said, look, let's just play for an hour. She'd had a hard day at work, and I said, well, you just need to play for an hour, and we played it for 3 hours. And at no point in that time was she saying, it's been about an hour, can we stop now, kind of thing. She didn't do that at all. So we played for 3 hours.
That's great.
And we reached a point in the game which was a natural point for us to stop.
Yeah.
We then played again yesterday, where we picked up and we played again for about another 2 hours. Might have even been 3 again, because we did a lot more. And we reached another point which felt like a natural stop. So although you can save the game at any time, we didn't save the game after our first game on Friday. We just left it all set up there. But because of the point in the adventure that we reached, without giving any spoilers away, it was kind of the same as a save game.
Yeah.
And then a similar thing happened yesterday. How much have you been playing it then?
We've probably played it for maybe a little bit longer than that, maybe a couple more hours. We're playing with the, what is it called? The Voracious Goddess, the suggested starting
the first curse, yes.
The day I got the game, I think I got it maybe a week before you.
Yeah.
The day we got it, we took it to, we paused our Gloomhaven sessions, which is, I know, sacrilege, but we paused it for one night to try Seventh Continent for the first time. Yeah. And the people we were playing with were a bit unsure at first when you unpack it and you see the list of actions on the player aids and things. Their eyes were widening that, oh no, what are the rules in this? But actually, no, you don't really need to know any of this. Just, if you see an icon, that's an action. I don't need to tell you what all the actions are. We'll just intuit it from the things. So we played that for about 3 hours maybe, and we died. We ran out of cards in the action deck. When that happens, you start drawing from the discard. We drew a curse quite quickly. Okay. And then when I tried it with my girlfriend Rachel, just 2-player, we've been steadily going through that. We've had a few accidents where we've kind of gone round in circles a little bit because we weren't paying enough attention. But we've been loving it, and I don't know how far we are through this because, well, it's just
we'll talk offline because we can't really talk too much. You know, I can't say, oh, did you find the tree with the purple apples? That would be a spoiler.
There seems to be wildly varying times as well that it's taken people to complete this. Like if you get lost. I haven't seen any specifics, but I have seen people say that it took them like 30 hours or something in total, but maybe they went off in a direction that wasn't necessarily...
Well, we got to a point yesterday where we went somewhere which was clearly an entrance to a new place, and we're now considering whether we just turn around and leave.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure this place we're in is nothing to do with the curse that we're trying to do, but it probably is the entrance to a place for one of the other curses.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if we do this now, we're kind of spoiling it for when we do the other one.
You have to kind of balance out wanting to see... You want to see everything all the time, but...
Yes, both Vicky and I are both completionists.
Yeah.
So, you know, we want to see everything. And, you know, even when we're doing Gloomhaven, when we do an event card and we choose A or B, and then it says, you flip the card over and you read A, and then it says, right, now destroy this card. Well, it doesn't say destroy it, it means, you know, remove it from the game.
Yeah.
We're never going to have that card again. So she reads B to know what would have happened.
What might have been, yeah.
I kind of don't want to know that because I don't want that to influence, but, you know, with this, I mean, there's no way you're going to go everywhere and do everything on one playthrough. Because I think even though there's multiple scenarios, all of the scenarios take place on the same world. They're in the same world. And, you know, you can end up going to the similar locations. Well, not similar, but the exact same particular location tile in one scenario than you can in another tile.
Yeah.
Now, for those people who are listening to this who have got Seventh Continent, one thing I was... a little surprised about, but I'm glad I found it, is there's already errata.
Yeah.
So, although they did check everything and they checked it as carefully as they could, before you play it, if you have the game, go online, look up the errata, because some of the errata is game breaking. It will tell you to go to a particular location and it's the wrong one. Now, considering the amount of stuff in the game, a little bit of errata is forgivable. They've done a good job. They've put it all online. I went through and I fixed all of my cards. So that's it. I can forget about that now. Although I am probably going to just check that FAQ once a week or once every couple of weeks, just in case they find new stuff.
Yeah.
And one of those bits of game-breaking errata actually would have caught us out yesterday. Yeah. So I'm glad I updated the card. There's a lot more rules than I thought. It's a lot... Some parts of it are simple. As you say, there's like 50 different icons for the different actions that you can do, but they're all the same rules. It's here's how many cards you draw, and here's how many successes you need. It doesn't matter whether that's a spot test, a climb test, a swim test, or whatever. The icon is only relevant if you're matching the icon with an item that gives you a bonus for that particular skill test. So that's okay, that's not that complicated. But when you start collecting item cards in your hand, and you craft items, we're at a point now where, right, we're going to do something, right, we're going to do that, but because I've got this, that modifies it in this way, you're going to help out, and if you're helping out, that means we can modify it in this way, and then we've got this card in hand that we can play. There's quite a lot going on. It's not super complex for us who are used to heavier Euro games, but yeah, it was a little bit more complicated than I initially was expecting. Not a problem in any way.
No, there have been a few times where maybe we've gone down a chain of cards that aren't necessarily adding to the map. Maybe we've found something and then that chain has needed a big test that we used a load of items for, and suddenly we've got such a pile of cards on the table that you kind of have to reset a little bit and remember what we were doing in the first place. But as you say, it's not a huge thing. No.
The other thing that I wanted to mention is the replayability. I wasn't sure what the replayability was going to be like in this game. So it's parts of it are replayable, but parts of it are not. And I don't think that's not going to be a problem for me. Based on the amount of content that comes with the game, if I only ever play it it's like Time Stories. Time Stories is not really replayable. Once you've played a Time Stories case, you can't really replay it. I mean, you can sit with another group, but you know what's through that door. You know the answer to the puzzle. You know where the hidden dagger is.
Yeah.
You have to therefore pretend. And it's the same in this game. You know, the map is a fixed map. The random event that you have on the Fog of War is a random event, but once you've uncovered that Fog of War, what was there is the same every game. So we found 2 or 3 hidden numbers in our game. So that's it. We know where they are. If I was to play that game again with some new people, I would literally have to just stay quiet at one point and, you know, not point that out. We know what's at the top of the cliff. We know what's south of the thing. We found a treasure map. We now know where that treasure is and things like that. I don't think that's a problem for me at all, because if I just play through all of this once, I think that would have been value for money enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definite, you know, if you're hoping for a game which you can infinitely replay multiple times, then no, I don't think you can. You could try the same thing again with different characters. You can potentially go a slightly different way, but there's a lot of it which is going to be the same. But as I say, that's not a problem for me.
Yeah, the broad strokes would be the same. But I haven't even opened the expansion, the little expansion that it came with the kind of extra curses and things. There's so much in the base box already. You got that then? Yeah, it came with. Did it come with them as part of the like a little sealed pack of 3 things?
Only if you backed it at the Explorer level.
Okay, I did that then apparently.
Which I didn't, and I'm regretting that. But at the time, I was like, okay, it's yet another game. I don't have time to play all of the games that I do have, and I don't want to start backing it and buying all of these add-ons when I might not enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm sure it was one of those where I backed it small to begin with, and then over the course of, you know, 48-hour notices and pledge managers, it's like, oh, well, it's only a few euros more, but by the end of it, it's
30 euros more, yeah. So I figured that, in case I don't like the game, I'm not going to back it and get these expansions. And 2 of those expansions they said would be available later.
Yeah.
One of them wasn't because it was a Kickstarter exclusive. And I thought, that's absolutely fine. And they're going to be doing another Kickstarter later this year.
Yeah. Sometime in the autumn, I think they said.
Those,
and I think they mentioned more expansions.
Yes.
New expansions in this new Kickstarter.
Otherwise it's just a reprint of what they've already done, and they're not doing anything else. So it's easy. So yeah, they should be working on new stuff. So I'm planning on doing one of my quick and dirty reviews of Seventh Continent, which is going to be a shorter video than the 10 minutes we've just spent talking about it.
After we'd wrapped up the podcast.
After we'd finished the podcast once, and then we remembered we were going to talk about Seventh Continent. So yes, Seventh Continent, very much enjoying it, and lots of other people I know who've had their copy recently have also been enjoying it. So yeah, if you didn't back it, then you have another opportunity later this year. So anyway, let's wrap things up there. Thanks for coming on the show. You've plugged your show, Slickerdrips.
Yes.
So go and check out Tom's videos if you want to watch him do some playthroughs of games. And episode 51 will be at some point in the future. I don't know when. I need to work out what I'm going to do. And I'm going to be working on a few things myself over the next few weeks. But Essen is round the corner. I mean, it's 7 weeks away, but 7 weeks is not a long time when you're working with lots of different publishers on getting games ready in time to come out at Essen, well, especially when some of those games are still in the development stages and we're doing final development and rules changes and things like that. So yeah, it's not all finalised yet. So yeah, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks to Games Law, the sponsors of the show, the UK's largest specialist games retailer, and to Jason Shaw at audionautics.com for the music used in this podcast. Gaming Rules is a member of Punchboard Media, where we all bring something to the table, and a proud supporter of the Board Game Trading and Chat UK Facebook group. Until next time, take care, and thanks for listening.